Hey there, welcome back to Aaryan Bytebit Academy. If you are passionate about Kotlin programming, you are in the right place. In today's video, we will dive into one of the most powerful feature in Kotlin, that's higher order function. We will not only explore what they are, but also see how they can make your code more flexible and readable and reusable. Plus, make sure to stay till the end for a hands-on coding demo, and if you are new here, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss any of our updates. So the question is, what are higher order functions in Kotlin? Higher order functions. A higher order function is a function that either takes another function as a parameter or returns a function. Here you can see the syntax of that, how you can write that higher order function. Like here this function is a keyword that is used to create function in Kotlin. Then we have got this function name, operate on numbers. So name of the function simply we can give it any name. Then we have got a first parameter a int, then b int, and here is the lambda that we are accepting here, operation int, that will accept two parameters and that will return an integer also. And the overall return type of this function operator on numbers is int and return operation ab. So this function will return this operation ab. Let's proceed. Advantages of higher order functions. So what are the advantages? Let's discuss those. So first of all, simplify code and improve readability. Higher order functions reduce boilerplate code by abstracting repetitive logic. Yes, we can write higher order function in a way so that the logic is not being repeated again and again. Like an example, instead of writing multiple for loops for filtering or transferring data, use built-in higher order functions like filter and map. So here is one example. You can see we have got a list that is having 1, 2, 3 and 4 value there, and now we want to extract only the even values from that. So we are not iterating on this list using a for loop or for each loop. We are here using simply a filter function, that is a higher order function, and we are filtering that list by putting this logic here. So how simple is that? Now you can see, you can imagine or you can compare this code with Java, where you have to write a for loop, you have to put your conditions, and you are putting those even numbers in a different variable and finally getting those different, and that though finally you are getting those even numbers. But here it is so easy, you are just using the filter function and putting your logic there, and that's working for you. Next, the next advantage of higher order function is function composition and flexibility. So what is that? You can pass different behaviors into a function, making code more flexible and reusable. Yes, the one function can work many tasks for you. It can, for example, like you created a function that's name is operation, and that can complete your logic of addition of the values, and that can do the multiplication at the same time. So here is one example. You can see we are using that function operate on numbers that we created in the previous slide, or that we saw in the previous slide, and we are passing 3 and 4 value, and we are passing a lambda there, that's add. And again we are using the same function operate on numbers, and we are passing 3 or 4 value, but this time we are passing a different lambda, and that is for multiplication, and the output is different. We are getting 7, that is the result of addition, and we are getting 12, that is the result of multiplication. So we are getting reusability, and the code is more flexible by using the higher order functions. What are the other advantages of higher order functions? So code reusability, we saw, write generic function and pass different behaviors. Readability, Yeah, definitely it is increasing the readability of your code. Its code is concise, expressive and declarative code. Then we have the third one, flexibility. Yes, the function that we wrote operate on numbers was flexible also. That was accepting a logic of addition of the. Let's create an example of higher order function and how it can make use of reusability and how it can make the code concise for us. So let's open IntelliJ IDE. I have already opened here and create one class that maybe test.kt or any you want to have. Then start your code. So first of all we should have a main function, that is the entry point. So we created that main function here. Yeah, now we knew the function keyword is used to create functions here. Give it a name like OPE, operate on numbers, and here it will take a number as a parameter. So I am taking as integer, and then we need to create a lambda that will be pass here, operate, and then its parameters that we want to pass, and that will be of type int, and yeah, that will parameter I will be passing here, and this int the return type of that, and this is the overall return type of the whole function here. So here what I have done, actually I have created a function that's name is operate on numbers, that will accept number as a parameter, and this is the lambda that we will be passing to this function. Then this function should return a numeric. So actually this whole lambda is returning an integer, so we can return this whole lambda from here, operate, and we can pass the number here. So this is what we have created here. Now create your function and try to call it. So like parent ln, and I want to call this operate on numbers. So operate on numbers, and I passed 10 here and pass the body, that's into 2, and I want to perform some addition on this, like ln, then operate on numbers, and you pass your number here any, like I pass this time 50 and pass the body here it plus 20. So this should give the result as a 70, and here we should get what, 70 as output. 70 should be the output here, and here it should be 20. Yeah, so try to run it. Yeah, we are getting 20 here and we are getting 70 here. So from here we are passing a lambda's body here, this is the lambda here. Apart from this, there is another syntax that we can use here, like we can pass a function instead of lambda. So like I am creating function that's name is add, and pass two value to this function, int, and like there is one more, like I can give it a name like num1. Here I can give it a name num2, that's again of type int, and this will also return an integer value, and return num1 plus num2. Let's create another function, multiplication, that's a function that I created, again num1 int, and there is one more variable we can have, num2 int, and return type is this time again int I am using here, and what we are returning, num1 or num2 into num1. Actually it should be num1 here, so num1 into num2. Now there is another way to call this. I am commenting this for now, and what I can do here, print ln, and I'll call this operate on numbers, and this need a value 10, that's I am passing, and then you can pass your function here. That's function name is add, and it requires 2 value. You can pass another like 20, and here this time you can pass function that's name is multiplication. You passed here multiplication. So we need to make little changes in our code. Let's see. So this time this should accept, like I should have one more function, or I can create an overloaded function here like operate on numbers, and this time it will take 2 parameter. Here lambda will accept 2 parameters like int, it is accepting the 2 parameters here, and then what we can do, we need to pass the second parameter also here. So our functions would accept 2 parameter here, so int number, it should be number 1 here, and then it should be number 2 of type int here, and then we can return what, number 1 and number 2. That's what we can do. Now let's see, here we need to pass 2 value 10 comma 10, and we can pass here 20 comma 20. So I am showing you in a 2 way how we can use. One, we can pass lambda. Here we passed the lambda, like you can see the output of this also. So we have implemented higher order function in 2 ways basically. First time, here we are passing the lambdas to this, and here I am passing a named function. I have created 2 named functions. So we discussed that higher order functions enables us to implement reusability. It makes the code concise or brief for us. So these things are being done here. You can see there is a one function operate on numbers, this operate on numbers, and it is performing 2 operation for us. We are passing what operation need to be done from here. This time 10 will be multiplied by 2, and this time 20 will be added to 50. So the same function will be used for this purpose, this operate on numbers. This function will be used. And then we created another function that we created here that will accept 2 parameters, number 1 and number 2, and then it is having a lambda. It is accepting a lambda as a parameter that will also have 2 parameters, and that will return an integer value, and the overall return type of the function is integer. So here we have written operate number 1 and number 2. So we are passing what, operate on, we are calling this operate on numbers here, and we are passing 2 values, and we are passing this function here, add and multiplication. So what operation it will be performing, it will be defined by this add function. We are passing the value here, but the operation we are passing from here, and we are passing the values here, but what operation will be done, that we are passing from this named function. Multiplication and add, these 2 functions are used. So this is how we can achieve reusability, make our code concise and more readable by implementing this. So let's run it and check the output. Yes, so we are getting 20, because of this it into 2, and we are getting 70 because we are adding this 20 to 50, and then we implemented it in another way. So that another way was passing a named function. So we created 2 named function here, one is add and multiplication, and this add function is being passed from here. We are giving 2 values, and we are specifying the operation need to be performed. Then we are giving 2 values again, and this time we are specifying the operation. So we are not creating the 2 separate logics here basically in this function. the logic is being passed as a parameter from here, and the task is being performed by this function. So we are calling this higher order function here. So this is how we can achieve reusability and maintainability of our code, and make the code concise and more readable, and we can use the higher order functions. So I hope you must have understood the concept well. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, make sure to like the video, share it with your fellow Kotlin developers, and subscribe to Aaryan Bytebeat Academy. For more programming tips and tutorials, drop a comment below. If you have any question or topics you would like me to cover next, and as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you.
Keep shining, oh, the radio.